What's up, US history students? I hope you all are having an amazing day. And if you're not, that's okay. I know that there's a lot still on your minds. I know there's a lot of struggles, a lot of issues, a lot of things happening. So, number one, I just want to say that my priority for all of us in this class is not necessarily to get all the work done exactly on time. It's not necessarily to turn in the best 100% best work you can do, as much as I would love for that to happen, of course. The priority today is to take care of yourself. We'll talk about this more in class tomorrow. We'll run through some things, but I want to reiterate and constantly say that my number one priority is to make sure that you all are doing well emotionally, mentally, and physically. And once we can accomplish those things, then we can go back to the wonderful learning that we do. But with all that being said, I am so impressed and so grateful to have you guys continue to show up to class every day, to have this sense of normalcy, and to see the hard work that you guys do. It's super fun for me, and I am so grateful for it and so proud and impressed of you guys every day for continuing to do what you're doing. But anyway, I could talk for all of class today about how awesome I think you guys are and how grateful I am for this class. So instead of doing that, I am going to go ahead and start class today, start the video so that we can get started and not have a 50-minute long video of me talking about how awesome you all are. So today is another day in which we are going to piggyback on the reform movements of the Gilded Age, okay? Our daily objective is I can analyze 4 important events of the Gilded Age to better understand the struggle of the labor movement in that era, okay? So we're going to start off with a little bit of review. Like we've covered, some industrialists were making bank during the Gilded Age, right? They were called the robber barons or captains of industry, depending on whether you liked them or depending on whether you didn't like them, right? And these guys controlled the economy, but also controlled the government to make sure that no laws were passed that would affect their money and their riches in any way. Now, the robber barons and captains of industry needed people to work in their factories and provide the actual manual labor that made them their money. And thanks to urbanization and immigration, there were many people in cities to work in these factories at this time. They had their pick, right? But these people were unfortunately taken advantage of by the industrialists, okay? These people were overworked. They often worked 12 hours a day, 6 or 7 days a week in dark, cramped, unsafe, and miserable conditions. And these people were not paid nearly enough money. The money that they were paid wasn't even enough to support their families and live. Images like these were common at this time, right? This factory line where people are cramped and close together, oftentimes doing dangerous, miserable work where their safety was not allowed for. They were not allowed to take breaks or restroom breaks, right? So why did people continue doing this? It was because the people were told this lifestyle would allow them to make money and advance in the world. But this never happened. And these jobs required little skill. They often worked in assembly lines, only doing one small thing over and over each day. So if you were the person who sewed buttons onto pants, that was easy. You would sew a button on, pass the pants. Sew the button on, pass the pants, right? And this job did not require a lot of skill all across the different industries. So because they were unskilled workers, they were easily replaceable, right? Their employers could very easily replace them with someone who was desperate for a job. And if they did, the workers would lose what little money they actually had in the first place. So what changed? Right? The government, which was controlled by industrialists, did nothing to help the people. Many people were upset with labor conditions, and if one person complained and said, "This isn't fair," they were fired and replaced by another unskilled laborer. But these people soon realized that there were more of them, there were more laborers than there was of their bosses. So if they banded together, they could maybe do something about it. So these groups of people, when they officially banded together, formed a union. Unions bargained with the businesses that employ the people, mostly for higher wages, shorter hours, and better working conditions, right? These are the things that the people wanted. And the union's power came from strikes. Strikes was when all workers stopped working, preventing the business from doing anything or making any money. Okay. And when they could stop the business from making any money, then the business would have to listen to them, have to go negotiate with them to try to find a better middle ground for both sides. But it was not easy for unions. And for most of the Gilded Age, the government did not have any laws that allowed unions to be protected. So they were private organizations that fought hard for the rights of their workers. Sometimes literally, there were sometimes armed fights and even little miniature wars over these labor movements. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, there were a handful of events that defined the struggle for labor rights today. And we're going to look at those. Let's first check back at this photo, right? Here, the artist is trying to depict what the battle was like between the monopolies and the unions who were striking, right? The monopolies still at the beginning had all of the power. They represented the few, and they could continue moving forward doing whatever it was they needed to do because their industries and their economies were that powerful, right? Their control of the governments and control of the people was complete. Now, unions, they had a dying donkey, right? They had the tiny hammer power of strikes. At the beginning, their strikes could do nothing. Even though they represented all of the people, their strikes could do nothing against monopolies. So we completed that warm-up yesterday. Today, each one of you has been given an event of that was emblematic of the struggle of these labor movements, okay? Your job is to scroll down here to each one of these events, right, which has a bunch of information, to figure out what industry was involved, what specific people were involved, and then to talk about what happened, what caused the event, what was the effects of the event immediately, and what was the big picture impact of the events, okay? Once you're all finished, make sure to share your answers with each other, all together as a class. If you get extra time, maybe work on others that do not have the chance to be finished. And then, with a little bit of time left in class, try to answer these analysis questions. That's it from me today, everyone. It's already kind of a long video. But again, I'm thinking about you all today, and I'm hoping for the best for you. So please, please, please keep yourself safe, physically, mentally, and emotionally. That's the most important thing for today. All right? Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for continuing to be wonderful, wonderful students. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day.